Let me put it like this. People say that under Omar Abdullah as National President of the National Conference, he pushed the party to an extreme position on this land issue, even more extreme than his father would have wanted.
No, I don't think I pushed it to an extreme issue. If I had to push it to an extreme point, we would not have agreed with what has happened now. If I had to play extremist politics, I would have done what the PDP is doing.
Let me put it like this. The National Conference is the only state party in Jammu and Kashmir that has substantial support both in the valley and in Jammu. But by seeing this whole thing through Kashmiri eyes, you've alienated your voters in Jammu without any appreciable gain in the valley. Was that wise?
Absolutely not. It's not about politics. If it was about politics, I would have stood up outside 7 Racecourse Road and done what Mehbooba and Mufti Sayyed have done by criticizing this agreement. It's not about politics. It's about what is right. And the initial order of the government was incorrect. It was incorrect in what they did, and it was incorrect in how they sold it to the people.
But could you not have found another way of handling it rather than spark emotions and allow Mehboob Beg to create confusion?
I don't know why you make such a big thing about Mehboob Beg.
Well, he is your provincial party president.
Sure, he is a provincial party president.
He's a pretty important man by the sound of it, even if you say he's incompetent or suggest that.
I didn't say he's incompetent.
Suggest it.
I didn't say he's incompetent. I didn't even suggest it. I said he's entitled to his opinion, but his opinion was corrected, both by myself and by the party patron.
People used to say that the Abdullah family in Kashmir represents one of the saner, more balanced, restrained voices. Many people south of the Banihal now look at you and say, you played with politics, you endangered the whole nature and character of Kashmir at a time when Kashmir was returning to normalcy. You may have damaged your own personal image in the country.
I'm not really concerned about that.
You don't care what Indians think about you?
I don't care what image people derive of me from time to time. One day it's good, one day it's bad.
You mean to say you have no regrets about either your own position or the party's position on this issue?
I regret what the state went through. I regret that we had to go through what we have done over the last 3 months.
You don't think you played a very important part in what the state went through?
I wish we had a better role to play in this. If we had, we wouldn't have allowed the state to reach where it did. It's unfortunate we weren't in government to ensure that something like this didn't happen.
So the bottom line is you have no regrets about the party and its statements and its handling.
I regret what happened. I regret what the state went through.
But not what the party said.
No, we were bystanders in this.
All right, let me broaden the issue. The National Security Advisor has said that he doesn't believe, and he said that just last week to us, that the situation in Kashmir is either as bad as the press make out or as bad as 1990. Do you accept that?
It's bad. The difference between now and 1990 is that there are no guns. And to that extent, yes, the National Security Advisor is right when he says it's not as bad as 1990. Because in 1990, people like myself, my party colleagues, we were all fleeing. But I think he's being a little, how do I put it, little careful in assessing the actual mood of the people. Because the size of the protests that you saw in Kashmir, I think should give him more cause for concern than he's publicly stating.
Then tell us, how close to alienation are the people?
Well, what more do you want to see when children in the 10th class, 11th class, 12th class from good English missionary schools are out on top of buses screaming, "Hum kya chahte hain, Azadi, Kashmir banega Pakistan." That, I think, is an indication of the alienation.
Is there a clear ISI hand discernible behind these mass protests?
I don't see it. I don't see how. I mean, if the ISI was capable of doing this, why would they have turned it off for the last, what, 15
So then what
years?
happened was a spontaneous protest, a spontaneous eruption.
What happened was a spontaneous eruption arising out of the fear that the economic blockade brought into people's minds. Because let's not forget, even in the worst of times, 90, 91, 92, never was there an effort made to cut off Kashmir economically from the rest of the country. This is the first time it happened, and it sparked off the reaction that you saw.
Two quick questions. If it was spontaneous, then actually it's much worse, because it suggests it wasn't provoked by outside forces, there was no Pakistani involvement. This was just an upwelling of people's pent-up, simmering anger.
Yes.
And that means to say that, in fact, that anger continues even if today it can't be heard.
Yes.
Which means it could happen all over again without anyone realizing.
Well, we've always been saying that. I have from time to time been saying in various forums, the Prime Minister's roundtable conferences, elsewhere, Kashmir is essentially a political issue. It needs political handling. It's not good enough that you give a 24,000 crore economic reconstruction package, or that you announce all sorts of confidence-building measures. It's not about the money or the confidence-building measures. It's essentially about the political solution that you need to work out there.
The NSA last week also said that between 7 and 10 days, Kashmir would return to normalcy. 7 days have since passed. Is Kashmir on the brink of normalcy, or is he deceiving himself because it's just gone quiet?
Well, it depends what you want to conclude from the term normalcy. If normalcy for you means that you don't have lakhs of people protesting on the streets, then yes, Kashmir is normal. But if normalcy for you means that the anger or the resentment has been done away with, people are back and participating in the political process, then perhaps no, we're nowhere near normal.
And if we're nowhere near normal and that anger continues, then it could blow up without anyone realizing it just as quickly as it did last time.
Well, if you have another spark like this sort of economic blockade, sure, I wouldn't be surprised if it could.
Let's take a break, Omar Abdullah. I want to come back and turn to the future. How do we actually get around to tackling the bigger, wider questions? That's in a moment's time. See you after the break.